Hi, everybody. I am Jessica Koch, and this is my Profound Professionals interview series. I started Profound Professional interviews because I really wanted to share and feature amazing individuals, leaders in their industries, speakers, authors, coaches, people who are making really great advancements in their personal industry, but also touching the world in a greater way. And today it is my honor and privilege to have as a guest Nasira Jamal. She is the CEO of Life Reset Academy and author of her book, Life Reset. So welcome. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much, Jessica, for having me on.
Oh, it's my joy. I have had the pleasure since I started this in 2018 of interviewing and getting to know and hearing the journey and story of so many really fantastic, amazing people. And sometimes, interesting enough, people that I knew or did some work with or had networked with and had known for a while, but had no idea their story, right? So sometimes we just don't get the opportunity to hear everyone's amazing journey. So let's hear some more about you. So can you share with us where you're from and a little bit of your journey that led you into the great space you are now as CEO of Life Reset Academy?
Well, sure. I mean, it's a long story, but I'll shorten it.
We've got time.
So I actually I was born in East Africa in Kampala. And when the Idi Amin situation happened, where people that were not originally Africans were taken out of the country, and so we were an East Indian community. We were all asked to leave, and so we migrated to Pakistan for a couple of years, and then my dad's brother sponsored us to come to Canada.
How old were you when that happened?
I was only 5, so I don't have much recollection of really the country or the space. I just remember that it was a very stressful time for the family to be refugees, from leaving one country and going to another for safety. And then coming into Canada, at that point I was 8 years old and had no English. So I was put into an English class to learn English and then go into the school system. So from then on, it was more, I consider myself a Canadian because really I grew up here. My whole childhood and my education, everything has happened in Canada. So I'm a proud Canadian. And then I went into college and university. I did my early childhood education. That was really something that was just something to do. I didn't really realize that I was following some sort of passion or path. It was just to be able to get some sort of degree. My father was a big proponent of all of his daughters being educated. And so that was one really important thing that we got from Canada, which wouldn't have been an opportunity perhaps in Africa, to my understanding anyways. So once I did that, I was married. And so we come from a culture that has a little bit of an arranged marriage kind of component. So mine was semi-arranged. We kind of liked each other across the hall, and then my parents and his parents arranged it. So we kind of were arranged marriage. And I was young. I was only 21 years old. And sadly enough, the marriage didn't last. It only lasted 18 months. And I went through a lot of emotional stuff in the marriage. And when I came home, so I back up. I was in America, I married an American. So I moved to the States. And then when the marriage fell apart, I came to Canada, but I was pregnant at the time. So I delivered my son in Canada. And into that sort of journey of being a single mom, very young, not very sure of who I was or what I was doing. I was on social assistance because I was also not well during the pregnancy. I actually then got a little bit better, and 4 years into my son's upbringing, he was diagnosed with a very rare neurological condition, and he has special needs. And so my journey gets a little bit more complicated, and I begin that journey of parenting a child that has medical concerns or medical needs. And so really a child raising a child, that's what happened. And I was in a very dark place because I really felt the hand that was dealt to me was pretty bad. It was like, why me? Everything was going on that was really negative and impacting me in a very negative way. And so really the turning point was when I became more conscious that I needed to change what I was experiencing. And I started to visualize. I actually started to dream in his hospital rooms of a life that was better than the one I was living, because I really wanted to escape the tragedy that I felt I was in the middle of. And that experience now in hindsight brings me to how I think I got out of the mess in my mind first, before I actually witnessed it in my life in reality. And that was a big turning point for me.
Wow, that's very powerful. That whole visualization thing, people just, the meditation and imagining and seeing it like a movie in your mind is so much. So you almost are the life reset expert based on where you were. It doesn't sound like when you were younger you saw any of those easy road signs. All of yours, you took the road of challenge.
Well, I write that in my book. It's like Robert Frost says, I took the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference, right? So for me, the challenges, the adversities, though at the time were life-threatening to me, because I did actually contemplate, suicide. I actually attempted it while I was married. And so there was a lot of dark spaces in there, but the adversities is what I believe brought me to this other side of being triumphant, not just in my life, but now serving others to be able to have the same kind of experiences by learning the strategies that we need to have in place, right? No matter what challenges come up. Right now, we're in the middle of a pandemic, right? So as we are recording this, there are challenges that people are suffering through because we were not prepared for this, right? So that's what I write about in my book.
And I tell my children too, to this day, that as long as there's life, there's hope, and that is, I think, a piece that we always need to hear, but the world its cup of hope is lower than in other times, let's just say. And so anything we can do to infuse and fill that with hope, because hope is everything, right? So if you have hope, you never get to a moment of despair where you're thinking of taking the most precious gift ever, which is to be here, right? And so hope is, I think, key in the first kind of rung of success of climbing out of any challenge. And hopefully our globe and our world is seeing the glimmers of hope and using that to pull ourselves out of this and come out on the other side with some joy.
Absolutely.
So you're back in Canada with your son, and you're beginning to visualize. What was the next step after that? So how did you get to the next piece?
Well, so the next piece was really quite interesting, and it's based on just relationship, right? Because I was divorced at a very young age, and then I stayed single because I was raising a child that needed me and my focus, and I had to grow up. I felt that I was a child raising a child, but it was my time to grow up and become mom and figure out who this person was. And so it took 13 years of just being alone with him and getting through the doctors. I actually got remarried, and unfortunately, even that marriage ended in 18 months. So there was some pattern there that now I am able to look back and say what actually happened and why was it that it's an 18-month kind of situation. And what I realized was it was the relationship with myself that I didn't have. Therefore, I was attracting relationships that were also broken. And what I did do was create a relationship, a loving relationship within myself after the second divorce. And I realized that really the only way to attract somebody whole is to be whole by oneself. And what I became was this person that loved being by myself. I loved eating out by myself. I went to movies by myself. And I really fell in love with just the person I was. And what then happened is what the law of attraction promises is that you will attract who you are or who you become. And I did. And I got remarried for the third time to the man of my dreams, the angel from heaven. And as people say, third time is a charm. And some people, it takes a while to get there. But what the journey was is to understand how come the other marriages didn't work. And it wasn't because they were not good or they were not right or something was wrong with them. The reflection was something was broken within me. And until I fixed that, I would keep attracting the same types of relationships. And once I fixed it through the transformation that I went through the inward journey that I took, allowed me to now experience something that's whole. And so I'm very, very happy to say that I'm happily married to the man of my dreams. And this was all based on the journey, the journey of breakdowns.
And so what kind of career path are you taking as you're traveling through this emotional growth to kind of get where you are here?
So initially I was a licensing officer. Because of my early childhood degree. I was working with an organization, a United Way organization that allowed women to stay home and create home daycares. And then we would go in and make sure they were following rules. So we were doing licensing. And so I did that for 15 years. And it's just divine timing that in those 15 years were the toughest medical years for my son. And I needed a flexible job. So I was actually working, but I wasn't making a lot of money. It was a nonprofit organization. And though I was having impact, it wasn't allowing me the income I needed. And so my father, being the man that he was, and he was an entrepreneur in Africa, and he came to this country as well, wanting to take that entrepreneurial journey. He said to me one day, he sat me down and said, Nasira, I think it's time for you to look at something that you don't have a ceiling on for income, because my son had severe medical challenges and needed a lot of resources. And so I did what he said, and I followed that path. I loved real estate. I loved houses. I loved the idea of moving myself and helping people move, that I decided to get my license. And that's my first journey in terms of entrepreneurship. I became a realtor. And
you had all those amazing connections with all those home daycare people and all their families to build this amazing network, right? I mean, this is my sales and marketing hat on, thinking, wow, you already had all these great contacts and relations.
It's funny though, you don't put the dots together until it happens. And it's all aligned, right? It's like you meet all these people, but you have a different relationship. And now it's like connecting the dots of, oh my goodness, I have a network of people.
Yeah. And so I'm imagining that you are the rock. I know you're a rock star, so I'm imagining the rock star you are. You did really well with that.
I did. I actually, I'm in Toronto and north of Toronto, and real estate became a passion, and I did extremely well. I do extremely well, but I still felt there was something missing. There was some calling that I wasn't listening to. And though I serve my clients, because I'm service oriented, I feel like the end result is perhaps, the sale or the purchase, but the journey for the client is so far greater of importance to me, is to allow them to go through it, the relationship that I'm building with them of trust, and guiding them through whatever objectives they're trying to meet. So for me, that has always been a key for service, is to be really present for my clients. But I wanted to add another piece to it. And so I wanted to do coaching as part of my growth for not just real estate, but for empowering women, especially women, because I came from a place where I wasn't supported as a woman, and all the challenges that I went through, that I wanted to be that particular guide for somebody, because I can speak from my own truth of the life that I had to navigate from and find my way. And so now I've got a real estate business, which I love. And then I've got a wonderful coaching business that I really want, that I work with women, empowering them, not just to make money. I mean, money is, yes, a byproduct of what we're doing, but really helping them find the ways they want to have impact in their world, in their tribes, and be mission oriented, and also create that synergy between income and impact altogether.
So at this point in Life Reset Academy, how are you working and serving people? What are the different ways you work with them? Is it one-on-one coaching? Is it, describe to us if someone thought, you know what, I do need to reset my life. I do need to work with someone that can help me get to this more joyful version of my life that I know could exist. How would they work with you, and what are some of the ways that it could go?
So I have a couple of different programs, and one of them is a one-on-one for those that need a lot of guidance and a lot of accountability because they want to have a massive transformation like the one I had. Though mine took 25 years. And what I do in my coaching program is I allow that to
You
happen.
shorten that up a bit, right?
Yeah, I want to shorten that curve. I want to shorten it for them. That was the whole point of even writing the book, is the strategies that I did, that I personally did to get myself out of that mess, right? So the one-on-one program is a 1-year program that I lead them through, and it's intensive. It's for those that are really committed to making that change. And so that's a one-on-one. I also do group coaching as well for those that learn better, or sometimes they feel they're more aligned when they're with others and they can see themselves being guided by a group and also by learning from others. So there are 2 sets of programs that are, that can work, and depending on the person's needs, and that's how they can see the transformation for what they want to do for their life.
And of course, you can get your hands on her amazing book. We'll make sure that in the description of this YouTube video, for those of you watching, and thank you for watching, by the way, you'll be able to get it through an Amazon link that we'll provide in the description. But if you're seeing this from inside the LinkedIn article or on Facebook, again, look for the links either in the comments or in the details of the article, because we'll make sure that it is, we're going to use my own word, findable anywhere you, anywhere we are, we'll make sure you can locate that information. So something exciting also has happened from a coaching standpoint. You and I have added something new, a really advanced certification and collaboration through an amazing organization, and that is how we met. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this has been, I mean, the universe aligns things for you when you allow that to happen. And our meeting has been divine. I find that, we've connected this way, but the whole coaching program, this is sort of higher level certification. We dive into something, it's a methodology of personality science, of learning buying behavior. And this is not just, we're not talking just about buying behavior with your business or your clients, but even in relationships. How powerful this methodology is to learn the communication style of the person in front of you and deliver to them the message that you are, whether it's business or relationship related, the message that they need to hear, but in the language that they can understand. So it's based on the biology, spelled B-U-Y-ology, of the person's language code or their communication code. And so this program that we are now collaborating on and doing as our first launch, to do it as together and coach people, is to allow them to come into learning the 6 intelligences that, once incorporated into your life, how you can supercharge not just all of your relationships in terms of harmony, but also your business in terms of your profitability and your length of sales and all of the things that make it so that you can be profitable.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, really, for me, the whole biology is exciting and fascinating, because I come from sales and marketing, but it's so much more than that, like you mentioned, because you buy into a concept, you buy into collaborations with your spouse or your significant other, or the person you're in an intimate relationship with. And the other more fascinating thing to me that I get very excited about is we begin to understand the language of our children in front of us. And so even, especially, small teenager, adult children, wherever you are in helping communicate with them, so they, so that you can help them buy into receiving information, right? It's how they best receive information. So it's not about purchasing something completely. I mean, that does have an effect, but really how they take in their education and what's happening in the world and making good decisions. And, it's all value-based. That's the really fascinating thing. And the 6 intelligences, I mean, just imagine how much better your life would be if you grew from an emotional intelligence standpoint, if you deepened your spiritual intelligence and how much more fulfilling and joyful your life would be then. Business intelligence is covered. That's an entire week. So how much more profound your business, or, I mean, even if you're not an entrepreneur, the work that you do and your home is your business, right? You manage a household. And so that knowledge is so valuable. Sales intelligence and really understanding, you're selling yourself constantly, whether again in your job or for your next new job, or if you're an entrepreneur, right? Or absolutely in sales. And then the personality intelligence piece, that is incorporated in everything we do from the time we're on this planet until the time we leave, right? The personality intelligence is about relationships. And in my viewpoint, the reason we're here is relationships, right? To add value to one another, to inspire, to cheer on, to support, to stretch and help each other grow, love and achieve. I really feel like that is the ultimate purpose and reason on life, on the planet for myself. And I respect whatever other people's viewpoints are. You have to have that, and that's part of emotional intelligence, right? Having value and respect for other people's thoughts and opinions and beliefs and what excites and motivates them. And then finally, the most exciting one, which is new and evolving in the world globally, is artificial intelligence, and how that can actually have an impact on all those other intelligences for you, to have some automation and make your life easier and faster and more fulfilling from so many different levels. So this 12-week time period where I don't know if it'll be the last time, but it's our first time actually launching this coaching program that we'll do for 12 weeks. And it's going to be a very unique experience. We're going to take only 20 students, and we are going to work with them, and there will be accountability partners within the group. There will be relationships and collaborations that happen. There'll be this evolving mastermind that occurs over the 12 weeks as they unfold. And these will be connections and relationships that will open doors and open opportunities that you'll be able to leverage and enjoy, right, for years to come. And hopefully grow your prosperity in many of those areas, right? So I'm excited about it very much. We start in July. If you want more details, if you're watching this many years since its broadcast, reach out to us, because we're happy to point you in the direction of one of our classes or one of the coaches that are globally certified through this program. So that being said, is there anything else about Life Reset Academy or the Life Reset beautiful book that you created as a resource for others and a sharing of your journey that you'd like to share with us before we move on to the next engaging topic? My favorites.
I'm really grateful for getting the book out there, because I do believe for those who are looking for a faster path to getting into their own personal transformational journey, the strategies in there are really simple to use. And the way I did it was strategize mind, body, spirit, or mind, body, soul, and just kind of guide people through those three things. I do believe that there's a balance between the three. If you just work on your body and you don't tend to the others, you will find that you'll be off balance. So the way I created the book was to ensure that the strategies talk to all three of the angles. And again, they're implementable, very easy read. And really, it's not about changing your whole lifestyle to get these new things in. It's just taking the strategies and implementing them in your daily routine. So it's all doable, and it's actually practical, so that everybody can enjoy the benefits of it.
And what an amazing gift. So consider if you know someone who's stuck, or you know someone who's maybe lonely or has less contact, especially now, or really think this would be something that could inspire them or encourage them. I plan on picking up a few. I picked up a few from another friend who wrote another amazing book. And I'm sending them to nursing homes for the break room and dedicating them to the nursing staff, so that when they have a moment, they can be inspired, they can read a couple of pages, and just get some sort of hug from the outside world, right? So, and consider what you might be able to do from a gift standpoint for this book as well. So let's move to the next piece of Profound Professionals, which is one of my favorite. One of the things that occurred to me as I've gone through my years of experience, I'm 47 and fabulous, and I learned that, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff I don't know. There are so many needs and kinds of suffering and kinds of despair and kinds of support needed that I have no idea about. And so, I am in the United States, and we are in and Canada is an amazing country too, and also very, we're in a good space, right? We're in good countries, and not that all countries aren't good, but they don't all necessarily have all the resources or blessings that we have. So I'm just sometimes completely unaware of something that's needed just because I'm not exposed to it. It's not in my space. And so the reason to feature and talk about amazing causes is even because sometimes right around the corner, right in my own doorstep, I don't know what's out there or what's needed because my circumstances are different from others. So the awareness piece of causes that touch people's lives excite and fascinate me, and I love to get them out there. And it's another really big reason for I hope that you'll share this so someone else can learn about the amazing things that make Nasira's heart sing. So what are the causes or things you're involved in that just light you up like a Christmas tree that you do outside of all the other amazing things you do?
Well, so this is something that I really had to, because there's so many causes that make my heart sing, right? So the two that I've really touched on, actually three. The first one is charity water. This is one where a portion of the proceeds of the sale of the book goes to that particular organization because they provide clean water globally. And so though, like you said, we're very blessed. America, Canada, first world countries, we don't worry about clean water. But there are countries out there, there are children drinking from puddles and ponds that are unclean, infested with disease. And so for me, that's been a very big thing to support because I feel the one thing that is crucial to life is water. We're 70% water. That's one thing that we need. Everybody should have clean water or access to clean water. So charity water is one of those near and dear to my heart. And so the other one is more local, and it's also a portion of the sales of the book is going towards helping children with disabilities that are in adult programs that, where they are not able to go to higher education or get a job, but there are adult programs being run locally that can help them still be part of a community. So I am very, very passionate because my son accesses those programs as well, but I see the need in the community. There are so many parents that don't have other resources, right? So that's the second one. And the third one is the Hospital for Sick Children. They got me through the toughest years of my life, and I don't want to start crying, but it brings tears to my eyes just because those were tough years and they were there, So those are the three that really tug at my heartstrings, and wherever I can, however I can support them, then I will make sure resources get out that way because everybody at some point or other either knows somebody or is part of the needy group of, children in hospitals or water or whatever it is. I just feel like we can be touched by it all. Yeah. And that's my passion, is to make sure that, the success that I have is to give back to the community.
Yeah. I love that. All right. We will make sure all of those links are also included everywhere. You happen to stumble across this this interview, and I'm just going to thank you so much for sharing your story and your journey. I'm going to ask all of you who are watching live, or if you're watching the replay, show your love by taking action. Like, share, and comment. Get this out to others for us. Subscribe. And before we say goodbye, I do want to ask you to share one last thing with us. So a quote, a book, something you do in your life that's made an impact on you. So can you share one last nugget with us?
I'm so glad this is how we're ending it, because this is my all-time personal favorite. And I think I've read this book I want to say at least 100 times over the years, but it's called The Impersonal Life by Joseph Benner. And if you can get your hands on this copy, it's a very, it's not a hard read, but it's an impactful read. It is about, you know, aligning yourself with higher consciousness in terms of our divine plan and our divine purpose of why we're here and how the divinity works through us. And this is about the reflection of personal development and life realization of life. So it's one of my all-time favorites. I recommend it. I give it out as gift. I think it's a beautiful book.
Just say the name again, and we'll make sure maybe we can get a link for that as well when you have a chance, because I would love to. Did you say impersonal, like I am?
Yeah, The Impersonal Life by Joseph Benner.
Wonderful. That sounds like something I'd like to read, just because you always want to do that recheck. Am I really in line with all his plans and purpose and prosperity and dreams for me and ways that I can touch others' lives? That's beautiful. So thank you again for being with us. Thank you, all of you. I'm going to ask you to do your bit out there. Try to share some hope. Make sure you take a moment and enjoy the beauty of nature and all the creations God has made. But don't forget to take a look in the mirror and realize that you are his greatest creation. And people matter most. So with that, until the next Profound Professionals, we're going to say goodbye. All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.